Hi everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. I am in the middle of a series. This is the second of 3 cards that I'm going to do a few sneak peeks for you, and then we're going to go back to fall and Christmas. But the ones I'm going to use on this one, and then the one I'm using today, they will be available to customers on November 6th. But if you can't wait and you want to get them now, Stampin' Up! Has 2 great joining specials. You can join my team, and either of these could either go in your starter kit, or you could purchase them once you have your starter kit and you get your 20% discount. So the 2 options are the starter kit at 35% off, so you save money if you already have a lot of stuff, or you can get the starter kit and add 35% more in free stuff. So both of those options will be on the blog post that goes with this video. So if you're watching on YouTube, it'll be down underneath. If you are on my website, it'll be right there for you. And the easiest way to always get all the information is to be on my email list. So this one I did last week. It has a new bundle, new papers, new embellishments. Today I'm going to use the other stamp set, and I'm going to use the ribbon. So that way you will see all of this. And then the last sneak peek is a pre-order that demonstrators can do. So if you join my team, you can get it, and it will be coming out in the January mini catalog. So today I'm going to use Fluffiest Friends. It's a little bundle. It's super cute. I had a hard time deciding on which animal to do because they're all so cute. How do you even pick? And I was going to put the bird on there, but you'll see when I get the card done that there wasn't a lot of room. So really the card I'm going to do, if you have another favorite fluffy friend, you can put it on instead of the one I'm doing today. But I wanted to use the beehive, and so it went with the honey pot. That was how I made my decision. But you could leave the beehive off and add flowers or the nest, or there's more balloon dies if you want to make a birthday card. So I have some fun things here. I have copper clay, which is one of my new favorite colors. It's an in color. It was new with this catalog back in May, so we've had it for a while now. And I find myself reaching for it all the time. I don't know once fall is over, although browns, orange, and greens, that's my happy place. And then I have this piece of wood paper here, but it is also Christmas paper. So it is, if you're in Card Club, this is the Card Club paper for this month. And then I think that this will be our Card Club paper for November. So if you're interested in being in my Card Club, you can go check out all the information on my website for that. This was the other piece I thought about using. It's also in the same paper pack. It's the Joy of Christmas. I thought if you were doing a happy birthday card, the music would be kind of fun. But I just went with this one. And then I thought about flipping it over to have the green, and so I chose my green inks based on this paper, and then I didn't end up doing that. And I also thought about running it through the wood texture folder. So there's a lot more you can do and switch it up a little bit. But I wanted to stamp the bees on it, and they're easy. I didn't want the bees to look like they were ingrained in the wood. And then I have a piece of, this is a half a sheet of watercolor cardstock. The other half is made the other card. So it doesn't take quite a half a sheet. You'll see I'll have a little bit left. So let's stamp our bear. We are going to watercolor him, which is, I decided to go ahead and use the same technique I used on this. So that way it's just two totally different looks with the watercolor. The bear has a nice large image to color. Another reason I went with the bear. I really wanted to do the kitten because, you know, I'm a cat mom. I love my cats. Although today they've been really wanting my time, so they've been up on the table. And I'm like, get down from here, girls. I gotta work. So when you stamp with the watercolor cardstock, I find it helps to hold it down for a little bit longer than you would on regular cardstock. So just push nice and hard. And there we go. I got a little bit of the edge, but that's okay because we're cutting it out. And then the rest of it are all die cuts. So we'll just lay those on there and cut as we go. So let's paint him, and then we'll cut out the other pieces. That's how I did my original card. So let's start with, I have the same water painter and the same paper towel that I used when I did the garden scene card. So I have a tiny bit of Flirty Flamingo, but you could use any of the pinks. I just want to give the inside of his ear a little bit of pink. The water painters come in a set of 3. And then you can just use all the colors. Then let's go gray granite for his little snout. And I like that when the Stampin' Up! Artist put the lines on there, that's kind of where you know where the shading needs to be. I'm going to add some to his nose too, just to make it a little darker. So with the water painter, you want to make sure water's always coming out. You don't want it to get dry. And with the watercolor cardstock, you can put tons of water on it because it just soaks all in. So you can keep layering color on. So give that a second to soak and then just get some stronger ink out of your ink pad. And I'll just add it again here to the shaded part. When you pick up the water from the part that has water down here, it's a little bit lighter, and then you can just grab the ink up there. That looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to clean it out on his little feet down here. Well, one foot. The other foot's facing the other direction. So that's a little bit lighter gray than that. And just get rid of that. And I'm going to do the honey pot in copper clay because, you know, that's a good choice, huh? Some copper. So I'm going to start with my water here and have it pretty light just to get my pot wet. Just kind of dab some water on it. And then I'm going to keep the honey from getting it. This will kind of control where my water goes. Or my paint goes by where the water is. And then every time I add, I'm going to just add a little bit more copper color. Leave a little bit of it. If a tiny bits have a tiny bit of white, that's okay. Helps with the shading. So you can see I'm just gradually getting more of the ink in, and every time I add it, then it gives another little layer of color. If you do this on regular white or vanilla cardstock, it will pill if you put this much water on it. So the watercolor cardstock is the perfect choice for when you want to do this. It's one of those good things. It's not a giant package of cardstock. This is half a sheet, so it's not a full sheet size of our regular cardstocks. But it's one of those things that I find I just like to add like this or a wink of Stella. Sometimes, you know, when you're putting in an order and you just need one more thing to bump it up, this is perfect for that. And you always have some on hand. Sometimes I panic because I'm like, oh no, am I out of watercolor cardstock? Now I'm going to go to espresso, and I'm not going to clean this because with this we're going to go pretty dark on the ink. And you can see espresso has a red undertone to it, which mixes nicely with the copper clay. So with this, I'm going to start over here on the edge where it's got the shading. Just kind of brush this on here. Again, I'm going for the places on here where the Stampin' Up! Artists have their shading of his fur. So I'm going to hit all those places first, and that will give us one nice dark little border. Okay. Part of the reason I'm using a pecan is because that's the color of ribbon that I'm going to use, but I hadn't used the ribbon yet. There's really not a whole lot of pecan in it. It's a really nice neutral ribbon, and the texture is fabulous. We haven't really had anything like that before. So I'm just going to grab some pecan and kind of just add it in. Again, I like a little bit of the white to stay. So if there's a couple of places where I don't get color and it just has the white highlights, that's good. You just don't want a giant piece of that. Okay, this guy's a little darker than my other one, but that's okay. When you use watercolor cardstock, you can just add some water. So I'm going to get some here on her face, and then down here, I don't know, is it a guy or a girl bear? And you can see it's going where it's wet. So like its snout's already dry, so it's not going there, and it won't go into the pot. See, it's just avoiding those places because those have already dried. So the places that are wet, it's kind of sopping into. This often happens when I film. Everything's darker than when I do it on my own because I'm trying to go fast, and then this happens. So I'm going to let that soak for just a second, and then take your paper towel. You want to make sure it's not a dirty part, so let's go ahead and open this, and then just press down on it. And now we've lightened it up, and then I can go back and add a little bit of darker wherever I want to. like magic, isn't it? So that looks pretty good. It will also lighten up a little bit as we as it dries. So I am going to now do the honey. So I have wild wheat and crushed curry. Wild wheat, I'm just going to kind of give it a base coat of, and not everywhere. This will help keep that part a little bit darker. Wild wheat's in a good gold color. And then let's hit it with crushed curry, which is obviously a brighter yellow. Okay, now we will take the dye for this. And then I have all of these right here, which is the honey pot and a bunch of leaves and the stick, or not the honey pot, the beehive. And then there is also the little door. So it's going to be a tree door. It can be a beehive. I'm having a hard time with my words here. But I'm just going to run it through like this. So I will do that. Okay, so I've cut those out. You can see there was this much left of my watercolor cardstock. So it doesn't use the full sheet. So you could use that and get another bear, another furry animal on it. Let's pop these on here. And try to keep the leaves in here. I was trying to keep them all in there. It's a little bit easier, I think, to paint when you have the big piece of paper. There, got those in there. So let's start. Let's do our branch, since we already have brown on our thing from the bear. So with this, I'm going to add a generous base coat of pecan pie. And then we'll hit it with some of the espresso. A lot of this is going to get covered up with the leaves. So I just want some color. And then let's do our beehive. So let's start with the wild wheat. It's not in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and move it. And I don't care that there's a little bit of brown because I'm going to add some brown at the end. So since we're starting with wild wheat, I'm just going to do it like on this side. A little bit more water. That was kind of what happened with my bear too, I think. I think that first shot of espresso, my brush wasn't as wet. And you can see the water just moves better when it's got, or the color moves better when it has water with it. And then let's get some crushed curry, which the last time I used crushed curry, I can tell I painted with Wink of Stella, so it's got some glitter too, but that's okay because we're going to add some Wink of Stella to this at the end anyways. A little bit more of the curry. I like when it goes into the lines of where it's been cut and embossed, thus the name, because it gives some natural shading. Then let's get a little bit more of the pecan pie. We're kind of doing the same thing we did on the bear, just with 4 colors. With the pecan, I'm going to go this side. You can see where that wild wheat hit and it was strong, how dark it is. That's why it's good to have water in your brush. I just needed another squeeze after that. And let's get some espresso. And if your bear needs any help at this point, you can go back while you've got these out and do it. But he looks pretty good. Let's see. His little arm right here just got so dark because my brush was a little dry. Or I blotted those ink colors up. I'll just add a little bit more. Because when it lifts up, it does have that red undertone to it, as you can see here. So every time I pulled the ink up, it was pulling up more of the brown and leaving the red. But that's the great thing about this watercolor cardstock is you can just keep adding and adding and adding and lifting up. You would really have to go for a long time before this paper would pill. There we we go. It looks good. Now let's go to our leaves. So remember, I was going to use that other side of the cardstock, so I went with Shaded Spruce. But this time I'm going to add a base of Lost Lagoon, which I did on a couple of the leaves last time. Get that brown out of there. And this is wet. Get it nice and wet. So then I can just brush it quickly over these. So some of them are a little bit more shaded than my other ones. All ended up the same color, which is not the end of the world. I just thought it would be fun to have a little bit of tone in our leaves. There we go. Now Shaded Spruce. Hit some water in here. It also has some Winko Stella in it. I never mind if I have a little bit of extra sparkle. Just kind of getting those middles here where the embossed parts are, and that'll highlight those nicely. Because my bear is darker on this card than my original card, I'm going to make the leaves be a little bit lighter. I'm going to get here where there's some stronger ink and just kind of get a couple of these to have a little bit darker veins. Before you put your brush up at the end, just make sure you get the ink out, especially if you have a color like green. Otherwise, it will stain your tip. And you can see I can keep squeezing water. And since it's just water, and literally there's hardly any water in there, but it just, now my tip is no longer green. You don't want it to stain it. And then pop the lid back on that. Then we'll let this dry a second while we do our bees. I'm just going to pop this back in here, and then I'm just going to do the leaves, the bees on this like this. If I can find them. There they are. The other one, I added them on after because I forgot to put them on, so there's none under my branch. This time I'll get a few under the branch, and they'll be a little bit better on the way that they go up. So just want to kind of turn it so they're all flying different directions. They're swarming. They're everywhere. That looks pretty good. We don't want too many of them. Okay, so now we're going to put this together. And here is how I did it. If you watch the other one, this one, this is down and this is popped up. This die set is not this die set, but they both have kind of arched windows. This one comes with some cutting on the sides, or embossing. This one's just a plain cut. But I want this to be the flat part on this one, so we're going opposite. But it's easier to put the whole thing on here. You don't need this in yet. See, it would be cute with that color. I'm going to put this here. Just going to grab my seal and put the seal here. And then just make sure this is straight on your card. And then when you put it back, it will be center. Lift that out and push that down. Now let's get this. I'm going to start with my branch. It's going to be the only thing that goes behind our design here. So I'm just going to give, it's not going to hold well, this side, because the paper is wet. My watercolor cardstock is still wet. So I'm just going to put some of this here to hold it in place. And then to keep it from moving, this whole thing is going to be popped up anyways, but I'm just going to put that there. And the bow I did on this is a little bit of a faux bow. Oh, that one's kind of yucky. Let's do our bow. Let's get this beautiful new ribbon. It's the texture of it's just so nice. It's different than anything we have right now. And I'm sure it can be shredded. It is called the Center Stripe Ribbon in Pecan Pie. And it will be available November 6th. That's part of our online exclusives. So starting next year, every other month, every third month, I think maybe once a quarter. I don't know. I'll always let you know when they're coming out. But we are going to start having more things that are not found printed in a catalog, just to kind of give Stampin' Up! A little bit more control over how often, because catalogs go to print, like they're probably working on 2026 now. So they have to commit to trends and colors, which they do a pretty good job on. But having this stuff as part of just being online, which doesn't mean you can't go and order it in person. Like if you're in one of my in-person classes, you can still order it and write it on an order form. But it means it's not found in a catalog. It's exclusively online where you will see it. I will try to always get most of the things to show you. But these will be found in the online exclusives. And the day that they come out, don't worry, if you're on my email list, you'll get an email to tell you. And my bear is going to go over here. So I'm going to add my ribbon here. But this doesn't need to wrap all the way around the card, and waist ribbon didn't even need to be that long. On my other one, it's pretty short because my bear is going to cover that up. And she goes to the edge so nobody will ever know. Same with this one. My other bow is a little bit tinier. But I use more ink and I use more ribbon when I'm filming. Pull this up. Pop that around. Now I'll pull all these off. So now we have our little dome here as a hot tree hollow. So just make sure it's straight when you lay it down. It doesn't have to be perfect over the dome. It's more important that it's straight on your card. So we have a tree hollow, and then let's grab our little bear who's already lightening up from his poor unfortunate blast of espresso. He's a coffee bear. Pop that there. And then the rest of it I'm going to put on with glue after we get this stuck on here, because I find these are just easier to pop on with some glue. So let's get about 3 or 4 of them. Use the big ones first. And I don't care where they land. I'm just going to pop them on, and whichever direction they're going is where they can go. You just need to make sure that they grab some glue. And then I have one more big one. I'm going to put it down here. And then I'm going to add my little ones. And this is just one pass of the leaves. This is how many leaves come in the set. Okay, one more. Where should I put it? We'll put it here. And then I'm going to take my glue before I put it up, and I'm going to use it as just to put some shine over here on our sticky honey. It'll kind of separate it then from the pot. And then I'm going to do it on the pads of her feet. And then on her nose. Get those shiny parts shiny. I've gone back and forth. I don't know if it's a girl bear or a boy bear. I guess it depends on who you're giving the card to, right? Okay. Now I'm going to take my little bees. You have to be careful once you get that on there. And I'm just going to, this will highlight them a little bit. You can see their little wings. Give it a little bit more here. Oh, on the other one, I also put a little bit of glue there. I'll show you in the end. Okay, and now I'll just finish off. I added 2 little butterflies and a big butterfly. And then on the other one, because I added my beads the second time, it needed a little bit of filler. So I'm going to do that this time too, because it kind of just gives the swarm effect behind it, behind the bees. So this is Pebbled Path. And the reason I chose Pebbled Path is because my black one isn't laying here. I'm sure it's here somewhere on my desk, but I have a lot of stuff on my desk right now and I didn't see it, and the Pebbled Path works well. It kind of just fills that in a little bit. And then I added the butterflies. So let me show you the other one so I don't touch that glue. Plus my other bear is a little bit cuter. So here we go. Isn't it cute? You can see here, it's probably touch dry. So I made this and then I just filmed. So however long it's taken me to film this card, 20 minutes. I like my leaves on that one better. I like the bear on this one better. I could rip this bear off and switch it over with that one. But the ribbon is fun. You can see it on his little feet. It just kind of accents those when you add just a little dash. And the glue's not sticky when it dries. So again, these can be, you can add them now to a starter kit if you want to join my Beautiful Images team. I have lots of team perks. So you can do that and then put this in, or you can wait till the 6th. Or you can join my team and then buy it with your 20% off discount. So there you go. Everybody have a great day. And I will be back with the bee one. And then we'll go back to autumn before we hit some Christmas. Because I still have stuff from the holiday catalog I have not used yet. Have a great one. Bye.